Have you ever wondered what happens when you take one of the most violent, chaotic events in human history and just, cram it right into a modern digital voice chat? Seriously, imagine getting dozens of people together in a Discord server to roleplay the French Revolution. You'd probably expect some deep historical debates, right? Maybe some complex political strategy? Nope, absolutely not. What actually happened was a hilarious digital disaster that literally broke the AI trying to listen to it. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to dive into a remarkably chaotic and absurd piece of digital history from the channel Chat History. It's their What If the French Revolution Happened in Discord Part 2 experiment. And let me tell you, it's not a grand historical reenactment. It's a study in how modern tech completely collapses when faced with human yelling, and how video game memes become our only life raft. So let's jump right into this insanely short 23-word historical record and see how 18th century Paris became just a software glitch. So, to really get this, we have to put ourselves right in the middle of the action for a second. You've got this digital space, dozens, maybe hundreds of people in the exact same voice channel, all talking or rather screaming at the exact same time. The roles are handed out. You've got peasants, nobles, ready to storm the digital Bastille. On paper, it sounds like an amazing social experiment, but we immediately hit a massive roadblock. How on earth do you actually police the French Revolution on Discord? In the real revolution, you had physical consequences, right? Prisons, the National Guard, barricades in the streets. But in our digital world, if a virtual peasant decides to rebel, they don't grab a pitchfork. They just turn their mic volume up to 200%. If the king wants to issue a royal decree, his voice just gets entirely drowned out by 20 other people shouting over him. It's total, unadulterated chaos. You can't send the royal guard to arrest someone. Your only weapon is literally just being louder. And as we're about to see, the result wasn't exactly an epic historical saga. Okay, let's take a step back and look at the sheer ambition of this grand Discord experiment, because the setup here is just priceless. There is this stark, absolutely hilarious contrast between what this experiment was supposed to be and what it actually was. I mean, look at that epic title on the left. What if the French Revolution happened in Discord? That title sets the bar astronomically high. It promises drama, betrayal, maybe some passionate speeches about taxes and human rights. But then, you look at the reality of the transcript. Instead of fiery revolutionary speeches, we get a completely broken, nonsensical block of text that just heavily features the word foreign over and over again. There's no talk about the price of bread, no new republic being formed, just the sad, algorithmic interpretation of a bunch of gamers screaming into their headsets simultaneously. Now, get ready for this, because this next part is where the algorithm literally loses its mind. The auto-caption chaos is where this story goes from just being a funny internet moment to a genuine technological meltdown. When we break down this incredibly short 23-word transcript, we get a perfect snapshot of an algorithm completely giving up. YouTube's auto-captions are supposed to be smart, right? But here, complete algorithmic collapse. Out of 23 words, the word foreign makes up 10 of them. Then there's a random thank you taking up 2 words. And the remaining 11 words, it's a sudden, hyper-specific quote about law enforcement. This totally bizarre breakdown shows us that AI systems, which are built to understand English and parse logical sentences, just completely flatline when faced with the crosstalk and noise of a digital revolution. It couldn't figure out what anyone was saying, so it just created this weird linguistic void. 10 times. The word foreign appears exactly 10 times in a tiny 23-word excerpt. Just let that sink in for a second. That is almost half of the entire historical record for this great digital event, and it's basically just a giant error message. It's absolutely wild. The machine is listening to people role-playing the French Revolution, and instead of picking up English or even some terrible fake French accents, it just labels the noise as foreign and completely taps out. It's like a historian trying to translate an ancient text, only to realize someone just spilled coffee all over the paper. This repetition is just the internet's way of documenting total anarchy. But right when you think it's all just going to be algorithmic noise, something incredible happens. Let's look at this bizarre anomaly that cuts right through the chaos. Emerging from this untranslatable sea of noise is a moment of stark, terrifying clarity. Right in the middle of all the overlapping mics and distorted yelling, one single user manages to cut through the digital static. They deliver this legendary quote so perfectly, with such absolute authority, that the auto-captions catch every single word. "Stop right there, criminal scum. It's the law in my watch." And literally the second the severe, crystal clear declaration ends, the transcript just dives straight back into the word foreign. But for those few seconds, the system worked. Somebody in that chat decided that the absolute best way to handle a peasant uprising in 18th century France was to get real close to their mic and scream this exact phrase. Now, if you know, you know, but for the uninitiated, this is not a famous quote from King Louis XVI. It's not a brave Parisian guard. It is a classic, legendary video game meme from the 2006 RPG, The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. In that game, if you commit literally any crime, even just accidentally picking up a stolen apple, a guard will sprint at you, freeze time, and violently yell this exact phrase in your face. For nearly 2 decades, it has been the internet's ultimate symbol for aggressive, ridiculous law enforcement. And the crucial point here is that when the historical roleplay completely fell apart, people didn't turn to actual history to restore order, they instantly fell back on their shared internet culture. So instead of historical policing, a famous gaming meme is suddenly injected to act as the ultimate authority in this Discord server. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the surreal nature of the internet. We tried to simulate a massive historical event with real gravity, but the medium itself, the crowded servers, the audio clipping, the confused caption bots, turned it into a complete parody. A profound historical moment was stripped of its context and reduced to broken captions crying about foreign noises, while an Oblivion guard randomly stepped up to protect public safety. It's a chaotic, beautiful reminder of how we constantly try to force serious concepts into digital spaces that were ultimately just built for memes and having fun. Which leaves us with a genuinely fascinating question to ponder. If all the algorithms fail tomorrow, and tech can't translate our human chaos, are internet memes going to be our only universal language? The advanced AI couldn't understand a single thing going on in that voice channel, but I guarantee you every single human in there immediately understood the meaning of that Oblivion quote. It's a hilarious but kind of deep thought about how history is ultimately going to be remembered and parodied in the digital age. Will the great digital archives of the future just be endless pages of algorithmic errors, randomly interrupted by 20-year-old gaming memes? Let that sink in. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.